One afternoon, Ruth was returning from market when the wheel of her cart broke. Goods spilled onto the road, scattering like marbles. She sighed, dropping to her knees to gather them. A young man passing by stopped to help. He lifted the heavy sack of grain with ease and set it back into place. "Let me fix the wheel for you," he offered. Within minutes, he had repaired it with a wedge of wood. Ruth thanked him warmly. "What is your name, son?" "Elias," he said with a grin. Ruth never forgot him, though she didn't realize then how often Elias would cross their path in the years to come. But not everyone looked kindly on the scene. A few men at the corner muttered, "She always finds someone to bail her out." Ruth heard the words. And though Elias walked away, smiling, she felt the weight of the whispers grow heavier. Micah's drawings became sharper, more detailed. He sketched houses, gardens, even schools bigger than the one on the hill. "Why so many buildings, child?" Ruth asked one day. "Because one day, Grandma," Micah said confidently, "I'll build them, and you'll live in the biggest one." His words, spoken with the certainty only a child can have, settled deep in Ruth's heart. She began saving his drawings in a wooden box, a treasure chest of tomorrow. The years pressed forward, each one a mixture of hardship and grace. The children grew, their talents unfolding like petals in the sun. Ruth's hair silvered, her hands stiffened, but her spirit never bent. One evening, as the sun dipped low, she sat on the porch while the grandchildren bustled around her. Noah was studying, Lila was teaching a neighbor's child, and Micah was sketching under the fading light. Ruth closed her eyes and whispered, "This is my riches. This is my crown." She had no gold, no land, no wealth, but she had raised children who carried hope, courage, and vision. And to her, that was greater than any fortune the world could measure. After years of hard winters, a summer came that scorched everything it touched. The sun baked the ground until cracks spread like veins through the soil. Wells ran low and crops withered. Ruth's small garden, her faithful helper, shriveled under the heat. The children carried water from the pump, but no matter how carefully they poured, the ground swallowed it too quickly. "Don't despair," Ruth told them, her face glistening with sweat. "Even the earth rests sometimes. What looks like death now may be Ruth's gathering strength the family endured on meager rations, but Ruth's words held them steady. In the evenings, when the air cooled slightly, they sat together on the porch, fanning themselves and telling stories. Hardship, they discovered, was easier to bear when shared aloud. The scholarship had opened doors for Noah, but it also brought trials. At school, some wealthier boys mocked him for his patched clothes and rough hands. "You don't belong here," one sneered. Another shoved Noah's shoulder, knocking his books to the ground. Laughter echoed. For a moment, Noah's fists trembled at his sides. He wanted to strike back, to silence them all. But then Ruth's words returned to him. Dignity is wealth that cannot be stolen. Instead of fighting, he poured himself deeper into his studies. He stayed late, copying lessons until his handwriting cramped. When exams came, he scored higher than any of them. The boys stopped laughing. Respect, Ruth often said, was earned in silence and revealed in results. Noah had just proven it true. Lila's evening lessons had grown so popular that one neighbor approached Ruth. "Would you let my little girl come every week?" Lila explains better than the teachers. At school, Ruth's chest swelled with quiet pride. She watched as children filled the yard, sitting cross-legged while Lila guided them with chalk on a salvaged slate. One child, a shy boy who had struggled to read, slowly began spelling words with confidence. His mother wept with gratitude. "Your granddaughter has given my child hope." Lila blushed, but Ruth leaned down and whispered, "See, lamb, seeds bloom even when you think no one is watching." Micah's drawings had outgrown scraps of paper. He began sketching buildings with rooms large enough for dozens of families, windows wide to let in the light. He imagined a future where no child slept cold or hungry. One evening, he showed Ruth a drawing of a grand school with tall columns and open courtyards. "Someday, Grandma," he said, "I'll make this real. Children will come here and never feel small." Ruth studied the paper, her eyes moist. She kissed his forehead. "Dream big, Micah. The world is already too full of small dreams." Years pressed forward, carving lines deeper into Ruth's face but never into her spirit. Her grandchildren had become her testimony, Noah with his strength and determination, Lila with her wisdom and courage, and Micah with his vision and imagination. One quiet evening, Ruth sat in her chair as the children gathered around her. Noah read aloud from one of the stranger's old books. Lila tutored a neighbor's child on the porch. Micah sketched by the light of a fading lamp. Ruth closed her eyes and whispered to herself, "This is the riches I prayed for. This is my rags to riches story." And though she had never worn a crown, never owned land, never sat at a table heavy with food, she knew she had built a kingdom far greater, one rooted in love, sacrifice, and faith. Her legacy was alive, breathing in the laughter and determination of her grandchildren. That was enough, more than enough. As night fell, the house exhaled its weary breath, but inside, the glow of the lamp painted every face in gold. Ruth sat quietly listening to the harmony of her grandchildren's voices weaving through the room. She thought back to the nights of hunger, the storms that rattled the tin roof, the cold winters that nearly broke them. She remembered the coins that clinked too softly in the jar, the shoes that flapped against dirt roads, the days when her body felt too weak to keep going. And yet here they were. Noah, strong and steady, Lila, wise and giving, Micah, dreaming of a brighter world. Ruth pressed her hand to her heart. I once feared poverty would be the only story we left behind, she whispered. But look at them now. They are my riches. They are my crown. They are the tomorrow I prayed for. Outside, the stars glittered against the velvet sky, whispering what Ruth already knew, that true riches are not measured in gold or silver, but in faith unbroken, in love multiplied, and in the legacy carried by those who come after you. And so, from rags to riches, Ruth's story was not about wealth she held in her hands, but about the lives she shaped with her heart. As the years passed, Ruth's hair turned silver and her hands grew frail, but her spirit never bowed. She had endured storms, hunger, and whispers of shame, yet she raised children who carried fire in their hearts and hope in their hands. Noah, strong and steady, Lila, wise and fearless, Micah, a dreamer whose vision stretched beyond the horizon, from rags to riches, not of gold or land, but of faith unbroken and love multiplied. Ruth's true wealth lived in a legacy she left behind, one that could never be taken, never be forgotten. And so the story of Ruth and her grandchildren closes not with poverty's chains, but with tomorrow's light. Poverty had not won. Dignity, love, and courage carried them forward. This is their triumph. This is their riches.